Hello, this is Rachel from yourbookmybook.com. Today we have the honor to talk to a great award-winning author, Joan Hovey. Welcome, Joan.
I'm delighted to be with you, Rachel. Thank you for inviting me.
You write novels, but that's open to a wide range of subject matter. Can you tell us all about your books?
I like to write about ordinary women who are at a difficult time in their lives and are suddenly faced with an external evil force. Women who are stronger than they think they are.
Do you know the theme of your books before you begin writing?
I didn't think a whole lot about theme until I had written a couple of books. But I realized with the writing of Chill Waters that my books generally have to do with betrayal and abandonment and learning to trust again. And more important, learning to trust oneself. Almost any good book will tell you something about the author herself or himself. You can't avoid it.
Where do you get your ideas for that novel?
I draw on my life for inspiration and an emotional connection. Then I'm off and running. The seeds for Night Corridor, for example, were planted in my childhood. On Sundays, I used to go with my grandmother to visit an aunt in the mental institution. It was once called the Lunatic Asylum. She'd spent a very large part of her life within those walls. They said she was melancholy. I remember her telling me that. Today, that would probably be called bipolar depression. Though the sprawling prison-like building has long since been torn down, the sights, sounds, and smells of that place infiltrated the senses of the 12-year-old girl I was then and never left. Night Corridor now is not about my Aunt Alice, but it was indeed inspired by her.
Tell us about your latest suspense novel.
My latest novel is titled The Deepest Dark. Abby has lost her husband and her child in a horrendous traffic accident. She goes to a camp where they spent some time together on vacation, and she has beautiful memories of that time, a magical time. And there's something in her that imagines she may be able to connect, maybe spiritually there. But as she goes there, there has been an escape of 3 very dangerous prisoners, and they are headed for the same camp. And the story evolves from that. As Abby drives there, she doesn't realize she's on a collision course with 3 killers. She was sure she wanted to die. She wanted to be with Ellie and Corey, her husband and child. But she's to learn that she really wants to survive and that maybe she still has something to offer the world. But that decision as to whether to live or die is about to be wrenched from her hands.
Where do your novels take place?
My novels are set in fictional towns that could be anywhere in New Brunswick or Maine, since the flora and fauna are similar. Although I did set part of Nowhere to Hide, which, by the way, won the Epi Award, in New York City. I researched the city, but I also spent some time there. But New Brunswick, which lies on the Bay of Fundy, is part of my DNA. And the town where I live, whose streets and hills and shops are bred in my bones, is probably the essence where all my novels are set, whatever fictional name I give them.
Do you have any advice for an aspiring writer?
I usually stress to students, and myself, because we teach to learn, to relax and let the story come to them. Not that you don't have to think, you do, of course, but sometimes we think too hard. Imagine, I tell them. Imagine. Make writing a daily habit. That's the only way really to get work done. Work every day. I write in the mornings personally because that's when I'm freshest and the day has not yet had a chance to intrude on the muses. I work on other things in the afternoon, tutoring, promoting, and whatever else needs doing. Try to write true, whatever you write. Find that truth inside the fiction. Write out of yourself. That's important.
Joan, thank you so much for coming to interview with us at yourbookmybook.com.
I've enjoyed spending time with you, Rachel, and with your listeners. Thanks so much for inviting me.